Hello, Mrs. Finley here. So today what we're going to go on to is using our rules of indices to work out calculations that have got numbers in them with indices. We've looked at the algebra side of things and we've been able to simplify them. So we're going to use that for numbers. Okay, so just do a quick recap of our rules. So the first rule that we looked at was a to the power m times a to the power n is a to the power m plus n. So basically what that means is if you've got, say, x cubed times x to the power 5, you're adding the powers when you're multiplying. So it's x to the power 3 plus 5, so it's x to the power 8. And that's it. That's all we need to do with that. Okay? Our next rule that we looked at was when you're dividing, you subtract the powers. So if you had c to the power 11 over c squared, then you subtract the powers, so it's c to the power 11 minus 2, which is c to the power 9. Remember, c to the power 11 over c to the power 2 means c to the power 11 divided by c to the power 2. It's just a different way of writing it. Okay, and then the rule that we looked at last was if you've got something to a power and then that's to another power, you multiply the powers together. So if you had a to the power 5 cubed, it's a to the power 5 times 3, so a to the power 15. Okay, and remember the reason for that one was that a to the power 5 cubed is a to the 5 times a to the 5 times a to the 5. So we've got 3 lots of 5 to add together there using our first rule. So 5 add 5 add 5, of course, is 3 lots of 5, so it's 15. Okay, before we go too much onto the numbers, we want to have a think about the power of 0, because we've not really looked at that, have we? So I'm wondering if we can work out what's the value of a to the power 0, because we did work out that a to the power 1 is a, okay, because it's 1a multiplying by itself, so it's just a. So let's have a look at these questions that I've put here to help us. So first one, what's 8 divided by 8? How many 8s are in 8? Well, there's 1. What's 100 over 100? Now remember, over means dividing by. Okay, so 100 divided by 100 is 1. 2 cubed over 2 cubed, or 2 cubed divided by 2 cubed. Well, 2 cubed is 2 times 2, so 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So that's 8 over 8, or 8 divided by 8, like we've got here, which is also 1. Okay, now if we think about our rules of indices, we're going to arrive at something very interesting in a minute. But let's see here. We're looking at this one now. If we are dividing something by itself, as we've seen here, the answer is always 1. Okay? So something divided by itself is 1. Okay? But if we think about our rules of indices, then we take away, don't we, when we're dividing? So it's this one here would be 6 take away 6, but 6 take away 6 is 0. So that's t to the power 0. But remember, this question is the same as this question. So actually that must mean that t to the power 0 is 1. And it must mean that anything to the power 0 is 1. So this is our next rule, that a to the power 0 is equal to 1. Okay, anything to the power 0 is 1. Okay, that's just to be learnt. Right, so we're going to look at calculating using laws of indices now. So we've got 2 to the power 10 divided by 2 to the power 7. Now, before we knew our laws of indices, what we would have had to do is work out 2 to the power 10. So that's 2 times 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 2. That's going to be a big number and it's going to be complicated. And then we'd have to work out 2 to the power 7. So we'd need to do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I'm counting on my fingers here as I say the 2's. So that's a bit complicated. We don't really need to do that because we've got our law now, haven't we? That says that if we're dividing, then that's going to be 2 to the power 10 take away 7. So that's 2 to the power 3, which as we just discovered or remembered, 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So without having to do any massive working out of 2 to the power 10 and 2 to the power 7 and dividing a massive number by a quite a massive number, we've been able to just say that the answer is 8. Okay, so that's the point of these laws really, is to simplify things. Okay, let's look at the next one. 10 squared times 10 cubed. Well, we know we add the powers, don't we? So rather than working out what 10 squared is and what 10 cubed is and multiplying them together, we can just work out 10 to the power 2 plus 3, which is 10 to the power 5. And you should remember from a lesson not that long ago that the power of 10 tells you how many zeros you've got after the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a comma there if you want it. Okay? Next one, 5 to the power 9 over 5 to the power 7. So remember that means dividing. So we've got 5 to the power 9 take away 7. So that's 5 to the power 2, 5 squared. Remember means 5 times 5, which is 25. It's a lot easier than working out 5 to the power 9. Okay? Now, we've got to combine two of our rules here. So we've got 2 to the power 6 times 2 squared on the top and 2 to the power 5 on the bottom. So we're going to sort out the top first. So the top of this fraction is 2 to the power, we need to add the 6 and the 2. So we've got 2 to the power 8 on the top, 2 to the power 5 on the bottom. So now we can subtract. This is 2 to the power 8 take away 5, and look at that. 2 cubed again, which we know is 8. Okay, and then the last one that we're going to look at today is similar. So the top of the fraction we'll sort out first. So we're multiplying, so we add the powers. So that gives us 6 to the power 4 plus 5, which is 9, over 6 to the power 9. So we're dividing, so we subtract. 6 to the power 0 is 1, because anything to the power 0 is 1. So well done. I hope you get on okay with the practice questions, and I'll see you soon.